Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Rao, and thank you, Rebecca, and everybody here. You know, there was an amazing thing that epiphany that happened just a little bit ago when the grandmothers were speaking about the possibility of letting the grandmothers, you know, be leading the world, the vegan grandmothers. And it would be nice if, like my mother's a great grandmother now, and she would suggest something like we could fix a simple problem, which is street dogs around the world, with a sample protocol or protege of having about 500 dogs happily in a giant cage, transparent, because it needs to be transparent. There's so many dogs are euthanized. And we don't want to talk about what they do with them and everything like that. But if we could stop that by having a transparent dog shelters on the side of the roads, maybe going outside of town so they wouldn't be causing too much noise, and they could run back and forth in this giant cage, not causing any damage to anybody and being almost in the road without being in the road, you know, no accidents. And it would only cost about 8,000 to 15,000 to set up these 100-yard runs divided in 4 sections. And we've gone to the details. I've talked with some doctors about this, and they really like the idea, veterinarians. It's a simple solution. So if anybody wants to talk about it, please, you know, we can spade and neuter these dogs. We can separate the males and females with a you know, a simple large cage. We could do so much, and we wouldn't have this dog problem around the world. And this could be done in Africa. This could be done in Asian countries. It could be done even in America, possibly, where there's so many dogs, and they could be, you know, sedated. The dogs, if they're too aggressive like that. There could be so many things that could happen. Like, any questions, feel free to call me, worldguardians.info@worldguardians.org. Thank you so much.
Donna?
Thanks. I just wanted to share, and Dr. Rao is going to be talking about this at the next session, how excited I am about the possibilities that he and Gerard, when Gerard explained about the forest. That was powerful. And I'm so hopeful that, you know, if we can implement Dr. Rao's and Dr. Bishop's paper, you know, we can not only reduce the violence to animals, and not only stop the warming of the planet, but actually get the planet cooled down, get it back the way it was. I mean, you know, to think about the rest of our earthly being is like this, where it's too warm and the oceans are boiling. So I just wanted to share an idea that I had. I'm a moderator and a program developer for Braver Angels, which brings people together. One of the things that they do is debates. And these are debates in not like what's the winner and what's the loser, but debates where the purpose is to try to understand each other, bring people together more. I'm also an active member with Climate Change Lobbyists, CSCL. And so what I'm working on now, because there are some vegan CCLs, I attended their conference about 2 years ago, and I went to this session. I missed anyway, so I went to the session on how to prioritize what we're working on. And of course, I was going gangbusters in there, like, I'm gonna, you know, here I have a chance to change the priorities. And it wasn't really it was interactive, but we were given the choices of what they thought was important to follow. And when I left that session, I understood. I didn't agree with it, but I understood. They wanted to have solutions that were doable, that could be implemented. And so going vegan, having the world go vegan, just didn't seem to be on their radar. And so I left, and I thought, yeah, I understand. You put your energies where you think it's going to do some good. So I am really excited about having a debate, a Braver Angels debate with CCL, where Gerard and Silas can present their paper and have a debate. And again, the purpose is not to have a winner or a loser, but to have both sides understand the other side. And so I'm hoping that can make a difference. By the way, Allison, I contacted your friend who is not a vegan, and is a CCL member. And as she understands it, as I did too, that restoring our forests to recovering from animal agriculture will have a slight effect, but not as much as reducing the fossil fuels. And we're going to learn in about 45 minutes how that's just not true. We're going to have a new paradigm. And so I just emailed her back, copied you, Allison, and blind copied you, Salish, saying that, yes, I think that's why we need to have this debate, because this new paradigm needs to be introduced and seriously considered. So I'm so that's where I'm going. So I'm just want to share with you that that's what's going on.
I knew she wasn't vegan, but I know that she's open and sympathetic to the vegan.
She is. Very much so.
Yes.
Yes. And she's not aware of how much impact this could actually make. So I think having CCL members, we may not be able to go, to make much impact with the leaders, but I think if the members are aware and that might bubble up to change their priorities. So.
Jane?
Thank you. I'm Jane DeMarinis with Sustainable Earth Eating, and my organization promotes awareness of diet's impact on the climate and on personal health. And we did a survey at the end of June that I thought I would just share a couple of the responses from it with you. It was a survey of 1,068, a little over 1,000 people conducted on the platform SurveyMonkey, and it was a broad cross-section of the country, all ages over the age of 18, and salaries under 200,000, and all genders, all races were represented there. So it was a short survey of about 7, and it's a consumer survey. I was just going to show the answers for two of the questions because they were somewhat surprising. Nearly half of the respondents, 48%, are extremely willing or very willing to change their lifestyle to reduce climate change that they contribute to. And adding into that, the somewhat willing category, which was 36%, created an astounding, I think, 84% said they are willing to change their behavior to reduce climate change. So I thought it was really positive news. Now, of course, saying they'll do it and will they do it is another story. But it's an anonymous survey with nobody's name, so there's no reason to really lie. One of the other questions had to do with meat eating, and this also I thought was reassuring. So a question or a statement was put to them: scientific research shows that eating meat and pollution that results from its production is a major global contributor to climate change. So this was agree or disagree. Almost twice as many agreed with the statement as disagreed. So 41.12% versus 20.8% agreed with that statement. So I was just going to share those two because I don't want to go into the rest of it. But if anyone is interested, I'm glad to send you a copy. I have a press release that summarizes it. And then in that press release is a link to the actual survey.
Jane, thank you so much. This is BJ. I wanted to say you may want to put a link to your newsletter. You have a wonderful newsletter, and I love getting it. And maybe others would like to get that also.
Well, thank you so much. Sure, I'm glad to do that. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone else? This is open time for you. Go ahead, Reverend Beth.
Sorry, playing with my mute button. Yeah, so I just wanted to tag on to, sorry, I was listening, but I was sharing on all sorts of Facebook groups, the sessions that have been going on today. So I can't remember who was speaking right before Jane, but I wanted to tag on to both. Who was that? Who was speaking right before Jane?
Donna.
Oh, it was Donna, that's right. Yeah, I wanted to tag on to what you were saying, Donna, about going to groups that care about the environment. That's been one of my most successful strategies in some way. Actually, I partner with a group called Santa Cruz Climate Action Network, which has a much broader and deeper reach, and more influence with local elected officials and so forth than Eat for the Earth has in our short history. And just getting them on board has really made a big difference. Not that they're all the way there, but there's at least 4 of them that are now strong allies, and it will typically, even though I think only one of them is vegan herself, the other 2 are reducers. I don't have to be there at a meeting with a government official for them to bring the topic of diet into the conversation. And I just think that's one of the most potent strategies for us, is to get the environmental movement on board with our message. And I also felt really excited about Gerard's paper and how that has the potential to help some environmentalists come around to our way of thinking and understand that they care about the same thing we care about, but the way they're going about it is not going to get the result they want. And recently I had this other opportunity that has kind of opened my mind to another potential population that isn't vegan yet, but that cares about some of the things that we do. And that is basically the progressive movement, and particularly those who care about issues of racism and environmental racism and colonialism and things like that. And that is kind of this possibility of focusing on the worker, the harm to workers of this industry, of animal agriculture and the meat processing industries. And we have this opportunity, for the Earth does, to table. We were asked to feed, there's essentially an economic justice and organic agriculture event that's happening. It's not a plant-based event. I mean, it is going to be a plant-based event, but it's not focused on veganism. Dolores Huerta, who was one of the founders of the United Farm Workers Union, and was partnered with Cesar Chavez, she's the main speaker. And we were asked to bring plant-based appetizers. So like, how cool is that? So we get to go table and tell people, like, the thing you care about, you know, the well-being of people who are marginalized, people of color in our country, things like that, that's being compromised by what you have on the end of your fork. And so I'm excited about that. And I just think that as a movement, you know, I know there's all sorts of ideas about how many vegans there are in the world, but you know, we're still a very small percentage, very, very small percentage, but there's these other groups that have the same interests that we do and just don't know that their diet is impacting what they care about. So I think that's just something to for all of us to think about, like, who are those contacts? Where are those places where we can reach people who may never become vegan, but at least will probably change their diet to some extent and may become spokespersons for what we care about, as the Santa Cruz Climate Action Network has for Eat for the Earth. So I just wanted to share that and just thank everybody. It's been a very inspiring time. I missed the last couple of them entirely, and I'm glad to be back with this particular community. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Sarah?
Okay, I was thinking this was more of like an open mic session where we like do a performance. So
Yeah.
I was actually going to read a poem that I wrote.
Please do.
So that's what I'm going to do. Okay, it's called Vow. Vow, come with me, let me show you this cow. Come with me and take this one vow. I will not eat any living being. I will not eat anyone who's seeing. All you have to do is eat plant-based, and I'm going to give you a little taste. I feel really healthy, and I'm not even wealthy. It's really affordable too. All you got to do is eat nuts, seeds, grains too. Like I said, I eat nothing dead. It's pretty clear to me that throughout history, we've been brainwashed telling us what to eat. Charts in the schools say, eat more meat, but the cancer rates keep going up. Stop sipping off that government cup of lies in disguise. Open up your eyes. We know that you see us. We want you to be us. Feel our pain, our suffering. It's got to be buffering on your Google search for answers. All processed meat is cancer. Come with me, let me show you this cow. Come with me and take this one vow. I will not eat any living being. I will not eat anyone who's seeing. And I wrote this because when I went to the Direct Action Everywhere DXE Animal Liberation Conference, there was this pledge where you take this pledge if you want to take it, and you say that you don't want to eat at a table that's going to have animals there or secretions of animals. And it's like a pledge. It's called the Liberation Pledge. So then I wrote this based on that pledge because it's like a vow. And originally I wrote it as a song, but since I can't sing, and I just thought I would read that to you. And I have one more if you guys want to hear one more. If not, then that's okay.
Please
I'll
do.
do it the next time.
No, please, go for
I
it.
would love, I don't have my video on, but I just want to say thank you, Sarah. I see it as a rap song. You don't have to sing, you could rap it. It's a rap or
Yeah. I'm Edgar Allan Pig. That's my rap. I don't have my like pig mask. I normally wear my like pig mask, but I'm at my pet sitting job right now, so I don't have my stuff. So okay, I'll just read you one more. It's real short. It's called Grass-Fed. We've been told these grass-fed lies, but it's all a big disguise. Have you looked in a cow's brown eyes? They deserve to see big blue skies. And I know it's not on the news. They don't want you to hear their moos. They're lying about the dying. They don't want you to see that it's all pain and misery, for the babies are crying when you keep buying. If you had to die for your meal, you know it can't be real. Take your eyes off that TV and come over to me. You don't put them in your oven if you really love them, because you know that it's not right to eat a being who put up a fight. You can't be an animal lover if you eat the flesh of another. We've been told these grass-fed lies, but it's all a big disguise. Have you looked in a cow's brown eyes? They deserve to see big blue skies. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Sarah.
Beautiful.
You got a lot of applauses and loves.
I'm so nervous.
No, you did great. Well, welcome, Paige.
Hello from Scotland.
Wow. Okay.
We're headed to Ireland tomorrow. Lots of love. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Enjoy your time. How has it been?
What's that?
How has your trip been so far?
It's amazing. We're having a wonderful time. Really are. Beautiful, beautiful sights, and lots of good news on the vegan food front.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of vegan options and vegan restaurants. We're visiting as many as we can to support them. And lots of composting food scraps. a lot. Oh, also a lot of awareness about climate solutions. I've been taking lots of pictures.
Wonderful.
Yeah, a lot of awareness and action. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you for
Yeah,
sharing.
see you soon.
Jamie, go ahead.
We missed you today, Paige. Sorry, I'm somewhere dark. I'm just going to get out of my dark hole here. It's kind of warm today. I just wrote something for this convergence as the power of intention, you know, what we, maybe what we're creating right now. Let me see if I can find it. And I'm also reading Captain Watson's latest book because he's on the podcast tomorrow. Super exciting. So Mac will kind of advertise it starting Monday. And whoa, man, that man, holy moly, what a lifetime activist. And yeah, Paul and I are reading it, starting our mornings, finishing our evenings with it, his assistant said. So I really recommend Hitman, the Kindness Club is the name of this new book that's coming out. And our next convergence will be all about the oceans. So please stay tuned for that. So this is about our future. This is about our future, this poem I wrote yesterday. It's called I Do Not Know. And like Sarah, I get kind of choked up when I read poetry. So thank you, sister. I do not know just how the wound closed, the one that bore into my heart when I heard your cries of terror. I do not know when the loneliness ended and the smiles filled those spaces reserved for anguish in the last woods of fleeing beings of ancient ringing cedars. I do not know when we found sacred space between the silent moans of clipped wings and tussless faces. I just know one day it was over. All the crazy murderous treason that happened too long for no reason. And no longer were we strangers in a war-torn madland. We landed as Homo Ahimsa people of peace, brothers and sisters, grandparents and children, protectors no more, no longer weary and heart sore. And we remembered our birthright, no longer needing to fight wars that do not belong to us. Forgiven, alive, in peace. Thank you for letting me share.
It's beautiful. Thank you. I put the title of the book on the chat, Hitman for the Kindness Club. The podcast is the Million Vegan Grandmothers podcast.
Yes, and if there's somebody here that would love to be interviewed, I would be happy to do that. And or anyone else, any grandmother on here, any grandparent that wants to interview somebody, that will go up on our podcast. It's not just me interviewing. So please, this is our podcast place of sharing, you know, Reverend Love and all of us. So please remember that. Anybody you want to interview, please share it on podcast.
Nancy wants to know how to contact you.
Yeah, Nancy, I'm just putting the email in the chat. Thank you so much.
Go ahead, BJ.
Is this being live streamed or is it just among us chickens?
It's being live streamed. Do you want to, do you want to, do you want to
Nope.
go off live stream? That's fine too.
No, that's fine. I just wanted to know.
Okay, it's all feeling very quiet, and I've been looking over the things to see if I had anything in mind, because we've had so many good speakers and kind of soaking in. But one of the things that keeps coming up is what's a good strategy. You know, Donna's talking about debates, and we've got poetry, and we've got music, and there's so many ways. And we've got presentations and examples of good health. So part of me is thinking, you know, they all are wonderful. Does it help to talk strategy? And I think it may, in terms of my individual time that I have. You know, where is the best use of my time? But then I have to take into account what my skills are and are not. And I like to know sometimes what is the best. And I loved that article back a few years ago that showed how powerful documentaries were. And now we have podcasts that are being shared everywhere. So I think that's powerful. And then there's the letter writing, which is powerful. So I think it's good to talk strategies for us to individually pick and choose from, and to learn what other people are doing. For instance, few years ago, I saw people, they had animal outfits on, happy animal outfits on, and they were handing out flyers and trying to talk to people on the street, and people didn't want to talk to them. They just wanted to donate money. Oh, you've got a puppy suit on. Oh, you've got a cat suit on. Well, I love animals, so I'll donate money to you. But nobody wanted to talk about it. And then we had the friendly vegan who set up a table and said, talk to a friendly vegan. And I thought about doing that for a while, just sitting out there and waiting for somebody to talk to a friendly vegan. So I love hearing what people do. I love the open-mindedness and the caring about it, but I also think it is good to know that there probably are some things that are better. And I'm reminded of Wayne Chung of DXE saying there are 3 steps, and one of them is be kind, don't offend anybody, but speak the truth. And I can't remember the 3, maybe somebody else has it, but I want to be more clear about what the truth is in whatever I do. I want to be kind. And sometimes you can't make it not offend somebody if you're saying you're eating animal pieces. You know, that's what they are. That's the truth of it. So I'm still learning my way, but I sure have learned a lot, and I've talked to a lot of people, and I'm so glad when I hear back about somebody being vegan. It makes a big difference for me, and you as a group is encouraging. So just thought I would bring that up as a topic. Thanks.
Thank you, BJ. Donna?
BJ, I'm so glad you brought that up. Oops. Yeah, I'm unmuted, I think. This is something I've been feeling really strong about for quite a while. And I'm sorry I'm so obnoxious in my chats and some of yesterday's sessions, you know, where's the data on, you know, does this work? Because I tried to change my profession. I teach people who are blind how to get around. And about 35 years ago, a couple blind friends of mine were killed crossing a street, and I realized we were teaching street crossing the wrong way. And so I tried for it's only been about 10 years ago that people started coming around, and I ran into all kinds of stuff. And, you know, I was complaining about it to my friend at dinner at her home, and her husband leans over and says, you're never going to convince them, you know, because you're what is considered to be a deviant. And I said, excuse me? I said, what are you talking about? And he had worked with Dr. Everett Rogers. And people like myself who are trying to make a difference, who by that time I had done workshops and written co-authored chapters and whatever. And so I was not like everybody else. I was, according to Dr. Rogers, a deviant. And so nobody's going to listen to me. Silas, I've talked with you about that you and I are deviants. And so people, anyway, I could see I've taken notes and read this book, Diffusion of Innovations, and learned all kinds of things. And one of the things I think in one of the discussions yesterday, so one of the messages was saying, but the cognitive dissonance among the leaders is so ingrained, and it's true. They've invested everything in the way things are that they believe is true. So I love BJ's idea of, another one that Silas had suggested is change of heart. And I'm reading all that and it's like, oh, you don't do this, you do that. So we can be smarter, we can be more effective so I would love at the next convergence, or maybe having a special workshop for nothing but, is to have somebody come and talk to us about how we can be more effective in our whole movement. One of the things that came out of Diffusion of Innovations is that there are 4 characteristics, and my street crossing thing hit all 4 of them, that make things really difficult for people to accept. One is that it's in the future. Like if you stop smoking now, you're not going to get sick. So yeah, that's the future. That's the future. I love the fact, I don't love the fact, but right now, the climate change is no longer in the future. One of our speakers was talking about how it's now. Another feature is that it's not certain. Like if you stop smoking now, you're going to live forever. And if you continue to smoke, you are going to die. But it may happen, it may not. Another one is invisibility. Like the people that I've talked to across the street, I haven't really followed up how many of them live, how many of them. So it's, there's 4 features that make something really difficult. So we would do well to study how we can make a difference. So I would like to see us putting efforts into that.
Yeah, I'm happy to see if either Nick Cooney or one of the other authors of the books would come and give us a talk the next convergence.
Yeah. Or someone like my friend's husband. He's no longer living, but he had worked with. He had worked with Dr. Rogers. That's why he knew that I was a deviant and told me.
And Reverend Bethel is suggesting Tobias Leinart.
Somebody who knows. Wonderful.
How to create
I
a
would
vegan
love that.
world. Yeah. Yeah. Anyone else?
I have a question for John.
Go for it.
John, how did you decide what was the best method for you to spread the word about what happened to you? Did you, were you used to speaking already? Did you have this in mind? What helped you decide this format, this method?
It was all happenstance. I'm basically a shy guy, as Silas said. I'm an engineer. I like working with numbers in the quiet office with the door closed. But I started a technology company 35 years ago, and I have had to give presentations over and over again to my staff. And so I did sort of get comfortable up in front. I'm only comfortable speaking if I've practiced a lot, but with practice, then it's comfortable. But after my cardiac arrest, I encountered these amazing books and papers in medical journals and so on. And of course, I would go to my family and say, "You can't believe what I just heard." And okay, and then after a while, they kind of roll their eyes. All right, Dad is going off again. But I would keep telling them, and then we'd go out and we'd see our friends. And as soon as the conversation went toward food or health, man, I'm there again. And I started capturing some of the things that I learned in a document, so that I would, when I go to friends, I'd leave them a document so they could follow up and find the books and stuff. And after a while, I realized this would be much more effective if I just brought everybody into a room who wanted to, and I could speak to a whole bunch of people at once. It's just more efficient. So we did that for years. We never really advertised it. It was just, okay, if you felt you got some value from this, come back again and bring somebody you love. And, you know, we had no control over who came, but people just came. So we had once a month, we'd do this, and we'd have typically 50 people in the room. And we did that until COVID started, and then we just shut that down. I switched after a few months to doing Zoom-based live presentations of pretty much the same material, but I had to shorten it because people's attention span is not as long. And then after a couple of years of that, people lost interest. You know, I think maybe COVID was starting to release a little bit, and so they're going outside and doing stuff instead of sitting in front of their computer. So that sort of came to an end. I recorded one of my presentations and put it up on my website so people can go and find that if they want. But it's never clear what the next step is for me. You know, I love this discussion that people are having here about what's the most effective way. I wish I knew what it was. And if people have ideas, let me know. I'll be happy to give it a try.
Thank you.
Hi, this has been really another part of this exciting whole adventure with all of you. So for you, John, I wanted to offer what Mital was talking about. Maybe why not write a book? And I think like I have a shotgun approach, like I leaflet in the street, I talk, I create raps, I have a YouTube channel, I upload a TV show once a week. I design these t-shirts and I sell them online, just like anything that I can think of, I do. And now I'm writing the story of how I got to be where I am now, which is an animal liberation, vegan, outreach activist person, doing all these different things, and why I started to put that as foundational. And it's kind of like in the form of a memoir, because it does go through what one of the previous speakers mentioned, which is the left. And I completely went through a few decades, I'd say, of being on the left and in a revolutionary organization and working with workers and supporting strikes. And we even got the right of women to wear pants at work. We were the driving force behind that, as part of the operators in the phone company, which is one of the largest employers. So I do recommend what Mital was saying is like, right, as part of your whole toolbox is writing a book. I mean, you have the material, you have your incredible experience of just falling down in the middle of a run and having a heart attack. And then you have all that material of which you presented to us, which is so major and so important. And it could be like a short book, maybe 60, 70 pages. I'm in the middle of this memoir. It seems to be taking forever. Like, hopefully I'll finish it within the next century or two. And what Mital was saying, the vegan publisher, is to build up your audience, build up a platform is what they call it. So if anyone wants to be on my platform to learn of when it does get published, please email me at vegannan, as in Nancy, Nan, VEGANN, napkin, AN @gmail.com. I'll put it in the chat and let me know. I mean, I email out little updates really infrequently. So don't worry about me emailing you more than once every 3, 4, 6 months, literally. But that's, I, you know, besides being on the left and working with these progressive groups and continuing to try to influence them to go vegan. So it kind of weaved in there. I also went through, became like a sister in an order, a non-denominational Christian order, and learned about spiritual truths. So people might be interested in that part of my journey as well. So I encourage not only you, John Tanner, but, you know, it could be like a short book. So, and email me also if I can be supportive in any way of that process for you, like Mittal offered. Thank you.
I appreciate that thought. That is really neat. And I know how to fill out the second half of the book, recipes.
There you go. That's great. That's fantastic.
Thanks for the inspiration, Nancy.
And I will support you. I mean, you know, I do have a TV show and a YouTube channel. I'll support you and anybody who's interested in any way I can. I'll interview you like I interviewed, Tammy Hay also will interview you. And, you know, like I interviewed Jim Mason with The Unnatural Order, one of my all-time favorite books, you know, and we'll get the word out there.
All right. I'll put my email in the chat for anyone who wants to contact me.
Great.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Reverend Beth.
Thanks. I just realized I'd love to share with this community some really good news. Eat for the Earth has been running a program. It's geared toward the Latinos in our county, which is the largest population of people who are living in poverty and have worse, poor health outcomes and so forth because of environmental racism and other factors. And we've been doing a diet intervention program, which is 10 to 14 days long, nutrition education and whole food plant-based diet with no oil. And we're having really phenomenal stats, really great results. Just in 10 days, people are dropping their diabetes. They're, you know, they might start really super high LDL and come down to a 22 or 66. Anyway, these phenomenal results. So we submitted a proposal to present at the American College of Lifestyle Medicine, and it was accepted. So we're presenting there in October. If any of you are there, please find me. I'd love to connect.
That is awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I see Bill Glover had his hand up. I don't know if it was for you, Reverend Beth.
Yes, I just wanted to mention a quote. This is from Mahatma Gandhi. He said, "The greatest of a nation is in its moral progress, can be found judged by the way its animals are treated." That's a while ago.
Thank you. John, do you have a recipe for a whole food plant-based vegan pinwheels?
Sorry, that's not one I've encountered before, but if somebody else has it, I'll be happy to look at it. Thanks.
No, Donna is asking for it. Go ahead, BJ.
Okay, since we're sharing, I wanted to let people know about I don't have a nonprofit, but I want to show you some of the images that I have from my friend Mareg in Ethiopia, so that you can see what kinds of things he sent to me when we've sent him food. So I don't know now if I click that, can you see that?
I can see it.
Okay, good. Okay. So that is after I've sent money, then the whole community is involved. So I know for sure this isn't just going to a scammer, which is what happens sometimes. So he talks to his community about vegan food. And look what he has up here. If you can read it, it says plant-based food is the healthiest food in the world. And it says, thanks, Rebecca and family. So
I'm sorry, BJ. I'm seeing some pictures, like a W screen and some pictures. I'm not seeing.
You're not seeing one picture. Okay.
Yeah, I'm seeing multiple of them.
Okay, let me get that off then. We'll do this one and see how this works. Okay, so now that's
Yeah,
better.
now I see a picture of kids.
Great, thank you, thank you. Now, I had asked, and could I share these pictures on Facebook, but because they're individuals who, you know, don't necessarily want their faces on Facebook, we've been very hesitant to do that. So I can share it in an email. I can share it here at this group course. Now I'm on here, Facebook Live, but he did say that we have permission because they are in such need. They said they will be glad to be on Facebook. So here it says plant-based food is the healthiest food in the world. And he thanks Rebecca Allen and family for doing this. And so I don't have a nonprofit. I don't know exactly how to get money over there to them. And it may be that I have to say a nonprofit, but when I try GoFundMe, there are so many different groups and I found the money slow. So what I have done is I've used Western Union. Well, there may be some better ways to do this. And so if somebody, that's why I wanted to reach out so much to the people that you had on your panel, Beth, today, because these people, they've had a war, you know, they're hungry and and we have somebody who is willing to help them spread not only just the food, but the plant-based message, the vegan message. So that is one of the things I'm doing along with Food Healers in this, but I just wanted to, I would like to make a step forward for him and for the people over there. Their winter is going to be coming soon. And the Food Healers, we did do Food Healers. He was Mareg and his church. They combined together to do this. They did have Food Healers Day. It was a little bit different than ours. But and I said, maybe if you do it as a Food Healers group, we could get some funding. But what they need is not a bowl of food because they have to walk so far just to get it. So it's better for them if a family gets a bag of rice and a bag of beans, right, and then they can take it back. So that's the thing I'm just sharing with you that I'm working on if anybody wants to reach out. Thanks.
Wonderful. Thank you, BJ. Go ahead, Allison.
Okay. I realized that we're already at the hour of your presentation, Silas, so I don't want to.
No, it's quite all right. Don't worry.
Okay. So I just wanted to share that I was very inspired by the punk rock vegan movie. And I would like to share that with some people that I know, but I'm not sure which generation is going to be most motivated by that. If it's Gen Z or the millennials, or does anyone have a sense for which group is going to be most inspired by that movie?
Well, we all were, no? So
so yeah, so I was getting a sense that there was a certain age group that was really involved with punk more than others. But if you all agree that just everyone, would be inspired by that, then that answers my question.